Hi, shalom, shalom. I want to start off this video by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem, Rakak Wadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of the great millstone that rule well, teach well, while learning truth, and 100% according to the Bible. I also want to say shalom to the elect, the 144,000 men, prophet, service scattered abroad the four corners of the earth, and shalom to the Akwaf, which are you sisters that are sincere, and your children, shalom. And then today's video is going to be titled, Shall There Be Evil in the City, and the Lord have not done it? Right. And it's going to ultimately be building off of this situation, as you can see from the title that occurred, where you had this, event took place in Minneapolis where you had, as you can see from the title, what happened, you see. But like I said, we know that the Lord is ultimately the one in control over all of these events and things that happen in the earth, both good and bad, you see. So ultimately, this was the will of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai that took place, man. And I'm going to actually grab a precept real quick through the Spirit. This is Amos chapter 3, verse 6. It says, shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? You see, shall there be evil, right? Meaning bad times in a city, right? And the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai have not done it. So like I said before, all of these things that have ultimately occurred with this situation that took place, the Lord ultimately orchestrated and ordained for these things to happen. You see, this is ultimately all the will of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, man. You see? So I'm actually grab another precept as well, because we know that no one is innocent. You see, this is Job chapter 4, verse 7. It says, remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or were the righteous cut off, you see, because there is a such thing as reincarnation, you see, and a lot of people, the Lord ultimately brings them back to be judged, man, for things that they have done in their past lives, you see, and a lot of people, they don't understand these things, man. You see, but this is all the will of the Lord that ultimately took place. So we're actually going to get into this video. We're going to watch it, right? And I'm going to grab a few more precepts. But before I start it, I'm going to say fair use under the 1976 Copyright Act. I'm not getting paid for this video, right? This is only for educational purposes only. So with that being said, fair use.
And hugs, an all too familiar scene in America after yet another school shooting. Parents racing to check on their children. CNN breaking news.
This is a reported shooting at Annunciation Church. It's just a heartbreaking day.
It happened at Annunciation Catholic School in South Minneapolis during a school mass. This was the first week of classes. The school had just posted photos of students excited to start the new school year. But that joy turned to terror as 30 to 50 shots rang out.
Active shooter inside Annunciation Church. A male wearing all black with a rifle was last seen up at the playground.
During the mass, a gunman approached on the outside, on the side of the building, and began firing a rifle through the church windows.
Right. And this is the time of season that we're in, man. We're going to have a lot of these type of events like this ultimately occurring, because we know ultimately the evils are increasing in this place, America, Babylon the Great, because ultimately we're in a time of season of judgment. But like I said before, all of these things that ultimately occur in this country that are bad is all being orchestrated by the Lord, man. You see, this is Isaiah chapter 45, and I'm going to start at verse 7. It says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, do all these things. And that's what these Christians and all of these other different people that claim to know the Lord don't understand. That ultimately the Lord is the one that's orchestrating these judgments and all of these different events that are ultimately taking place in the earth. They don't understand these things. So that's why when bad things like this ultimately happen, they quick to blame it on Satan and all type of other different things, man. But ultimately it's the Lord. This is his will. Everything that is being done is being orchestrated by him. It has to go through him in order for it to happen. You see, and I'm going to go to a precept just touching on that through the Spirit. This is Psalms chapter 68, verse 20. In the KJV, it says, he that is our power is the power of salvation. And unto Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, the Lord, belong the issues from death, you see. So like I said, every death or, different type of event where a soul that's ultimately leaving the world or coming into the world, the Lord is ultimately the one that's in control of all of those things. He's the father of spirits, man. You see, no souls can ultimately leave this earth without the Lord ultimately giving the sanction for it to take place, you see. And I'm going to go to another precept just proving that, right? This is Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 39, KJV. It says, see now that even I am he, and there is no God with me. You see, no Allah, no Buddha, no Santa Maria, no Jesus, none of these different idols that you people believe in, you see. It says, I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. You see, neither is there any that can deliver out of my hands. So like I said, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua was ultimately the one that allowed that God to go in there and do what it is that he did, man. You see, the Lord controlled the mind of that man, and ultimately for him to do the Lord's bidding, you see, because as it tells you right here, I'm going to grab this. This is Sirach chapter 39, verse 28. Right, also known as Ecclesiasticus. It says there be spirits that are created for vengeance, you see, which in their fairy land sow strokes in the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Who is the one that made them? The Lord, man. You see, it tells you this right here. I'm going to grab that. This is Psalm 78 and 49. It says he, right, the Heavenly Father, cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath and indignation and trouble by sending evil angels among them. And those evil angels can come in the form of these humans, man. You see, these spirits that are ultimately created to do the will of the Lord, man, which is to bring forth judgment, you see, upon people, man. Right. So I'm going to get back into Sirach 39 and I'm going to read verse 29. Right. And it says, fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance, you see. Verse 30, it says teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, right? The sword represents the modern day gun, right? Which is what the guy used in this, situation that happened, right? Punishing the wicked to destruction. Like I said, whoever perishes being innocent, right? Verse 31, it says they shall rejoice in his commandment and they shall be ready upon earth when need is. And when their time has come, they shall not transgress his word. So like I said, this guy that ultimately did what it is that he done, he was ultimately doing the will of the Lord. You see, at the end of the day, it tells you in, Proverbs 19 and 21 that there be many devices in a man's heart, meaning his mind, nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord that shall stand. You see, so the Lord put the spirit on this guy to do what it is he done. You see, Proverbs chapter 20, verse 24, man's goings, right, are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? So ultimately, the Lord was the one that was directing and guiding this guy, man, you see, and allowed him to do what exactly it is he done, you see, which is bringing forth these judgments upon these people, man. Right. And I'm actually grab this precept as well. This is Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 5. The just Lord, Yahweh, right, is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. You see, so this was judgment from Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, right? He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame, you see. So like I said, all of these things that have happened was all sanctioned by the Lord himself, man. You see, he allowed these things to ultimately to take place, allowed these situations to occur. You see, that's why it tells you right here. I'm going to go to that precept, right? This is Ecclesiastes, right? Chapter 9. And I'm going to start at verse 12, KJV. It says, for man or woman also knoweth not his time, right? As the fishes that are taken in an evil net, you see, just like fishes that are ultimately swooped up in a fishing rod that are placed on a plate to be cooked. They don't know that they're going to be ultimately hooked up by a fisherman. You see, the same thing with men or women. They don't know ultimately when the Lord is going to bring judgment upon them. You see, it said, and as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of men snared in an evil time when it falleth suddenly upon them. You see, and like I said, the Lord is the one that's orchestrating that, man. You see, so we're going to get back into this video, right? And just continue to watch the rest of it. But like I said, ultimately, this situation that took place, it was ultimately the will of the Lord, man. You see, he allowed these things to happen. You see, and ultimately there's going to be more judgment coming, man, because we're in the time and season of judgment. And we know, as it says in the book of Romans 2 and 11, for there is no respect of persons with Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. The Lord doesn't care if you're a child, doesn't care if you're a woman, doesn't care if you're a man or whatever the case may be, man. The Lord, especially for you so-called Negroes, Latinos and Native American Indians out there, we're living in a time and season where you're not serving the Lord and fearing him and seeking him. Then, hey, more than likely, you're going to be judged, man. You see, that's just the time and season that we're in. Right. So that's what's happening, man. In
the pews at the Mass.
Within seconds of this situation beginning, our teachers were heroes. Children were ducked down. Adults were protecting children. Older children were protecting younger children.
This 10-year-old student was there.
It was like shots fired, and then we kind of got under the pews.
2 children were killed. One 8, the other 10. 17 were injured. Authorities say the shooter took his own life.
Hey, y'all.
He's been identified as 23-year-old Robin Westman, who had no known criminal history. His social media pages have been taken down, but this video is believed to be from his page. It shows...
Right. I'm not going to show all that because we know how Esau is, not trying to get hit with no strike. Right. So I'm going to go to this precept right here as well, brothers and sisters, because like I said, we understand that more things like this is going to begin to happen and to, occur here in America because, as the scriptures have said, right, this is St. Matthew chapter 24. And I'm going to start at verse 12. It said, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold, man. You see, you go into that word cold in the Greek, it means psychos or crazy. And that's the spirit that a lot of these Babylonians and these Americans are in, man. They're in a psychotic state of mind. And that's why us hopeful elect brothers and sisters, us knowing these things, we got to be in the spirit. You see, as it tells you right here, I'm going to grab these few precepts just on being wise and being circumspect, because we definitely got to be like that in these times, man, because you never know what's bound to happen at any given moment. Because, it's spirits out here on these people, man, and they're out here doing all type of different, wicked things, man. That's why it's important for us brothers and sisters to always be in the spirit, to be praying, praying to the Lord to watch over us and to protect us in our day-to-day lives when we go out here in the world, whether we got to work, whether we got to, go to the store to get something, whatever it may be, man. You just want to constantly be in the spirit of praying and being circumspect, man, because we are living in some deadly times, man, and anything can ultimately happen at any given moment. You see, especially being amongst these people, man, because these people have no self-control out here, man. You see, these people are just completely demons, man, right? So this is Ephesians, right? Chapter 5, right? And I'm going to read verse 15 and 16, right? KJV. It says, see then that you walk circumspectly, right? And this is the spirit that we got to be in, brothers and sisters, now more than ever, understanding that we're living in very, very deadly serious times and that a lot of things are ultimately about to happen. And we know that stuff like this is going to be the norm, man, where you're going to have a lot of people just bugging out and just doing whatever, man. You see, it says not as fools, right? We can't be fools, man, because these people out here in this place, America, they ultimately don't know the time and seasons we're in. They don't know that things are about to get worse here in this place, America, that the evil is about to increase. You see, these people are walking around oblivious to these things, right? But as wise, you see, because as it tells you in Proverbs 22:3, that a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, right? Which is, hiding yourselves in the confines of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, getting right with the Lord, right? And it says, but the simple pass on and are punished. And a lot of these people that are simple of our people, the 2/3 of the nation of Israel that are not seeking the Lord, that are not being circumspect, that are not measuring the times in itself, knowing what seasons and times we're in, hey, they're going to pass on and get punished, man. You see, by these different judgments that the Lord is bringing forth every day, right? Verse 16, redeeming the time because the days are evil, you see, and that's ultimately why we got to be in the spirit of being circumspect and moving in wisdom. Because, like I said, anything is bound to happen at any given time, man. And we just got to constantly be vigilant, you see, being sober minded, So I'm going to grab this precept as well. This is Matthew chapter 10. And I'm going to start at verse 16. This is red letter, Lord Yahushua speaking, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. It says, behold, I send you forth as sheep, right? We are those sheep, us believers, us hopeful like men and women, right? Which are docile, harmless creatures, man. You see, in the midst of wolves. And who are those wolves? These people out here in this world, man. The 2/3 of our own people, as well as these heathens, man. These people are not in the spirit. So they're wolves, man. They're just walking around seeking whom they can do mischief or wrong to. And we ultimately got to know these things and ultimately apply wisdom in our day-to-day lives. You see, knowing that we're living in deadly serious times and that things are crazy out here, It says, be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. You see, we got to be moving in wisdom, brothers and sisters, because like I said, anything can happen at any given moment in these times and seasons, man. That's why we got to be not ignorant of anything small or great, as it tells you in Sirach chapter 5, verse 15. We got to be, cautious about everything, man, you see. But I'm going to grab this precept as well. This is Colossians, right, chapter 4. I'm going to start at verse 5. It says, walk in wisdom towards them that are without, you see, and that's the spirit that we got to be in, brothers and sisters, because like I said, we have the understanding of the scriptures. You see, the 2/3 of our people, they do not, and these heathens, this information is not for them anyway. So they're not walking in wisdom, man. These people are walking around in a carnal state of mind, just ready to crash out at any given time, just bugged out of their minds, You see, so hey, we gotta walk in wisdom being around these people, knowing that they lack wisdom, knowing that they lack self-control, knowing that they're filled with all type of demons, man, and that they're bound to do anything at any given time. We just want to be moving in wisdom that we don't ultimately put ourselves in any situation, you see, that we can avoid, right? It says redeeming the time, right? Because the days are evil, right? Verse 6, let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man. And that's the spirit we got to be in, brothers and sisters, of ultimately knowing how to deal with these people out here in this world, man. Because like I said, these people are crazy, man. You see, these people don't have any discipline. They don't have any remorse. People are just out here doing whatever, man. So ultimately, us being amongst these people, we got to be moving correctly, man. You see, when dealing with these people, you see, because like I said, the love of many is waxing cold. People just out here doing whatever for the hell of it, you see. As it tells you right here, I'm going to grab that, through the spirit. This is 2 Timothy, right? Chapter 3. And I'm going to start at verse 1, right? And it says, this know also that in the last days, which we are in those times, perilous times shall come. And when you go into that word perilous, it means times of uncertainty, times that are hazardous and dangerous. And we are living in those times, brothers and sisters. And this is why we ultimately have to apply the wisdom, you see, of Yahweh Shem Yahushua in our day-to-day lives. You see, we have to allow wisdom to meet us at every thought, as it tells you in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, verse 16, roughly paraphrasing it. Right? This is verse 2. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, you see, and that's what you see when you go outside your home and you watch these Americans, these Babylonians, whether it's our people or the heathens. These are the spirits that these people are operating in, right? Covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, and unholy. Right? Verse 3, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, you see? And these people are despisers of those that are good, you see, which are us hopeful elect brothers and sisters. So us knowing these things, you see, because it tells you in the scriptures as well that he that departed from evil maketh himself a prey. So we're not ultimately doing the things that these people are doing. So us ultimately being, walking in the narrow path and trying to do right to the best of our abilities, you see, we got to ultimately be in the spirit of being wise, man, knowing that, this world is wicked and knowing that we're living in some deadly serious times, man, because things are, heating up out here, man, and it's only going to get worse, you see. So we got to constantly be in the spirit of being wise, because the Lord is allowing judgment to go out every single day, man. And we just want to continue to be on the right side of the Lord and stay in the spirit that, hey, we're moving with wisdom, man. You see, that ultimately we're able to avoid certain situations or to avoid putting ourselves in a situation we don't want to ultimately be in. You see, for not using wisdom, we just want to be in the spirit at all times as much as we can be, you see, in these times, But yeah, that's pretty much everything I had to say with today's video. Abaratazah. I pray it be edifying to you brothers and sisters that may, tune in and watch it. But with that being said, to the next time, I'm going to say shalom to the elect.